Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Just a short video. There was an article recently which I thought was interesting. It was on Lifestyle, Yahoo Lifestyle, Farley.com. This guy called Ryan Britt was suggesting we cancel kids' stormtrooper costumes. Now, for someone who has issues with the whole idea of the stormtroopers implying that they are basically um, the N word, the other N word, um, the German troopers from World War One and Two, that they were based on them, which they were in the original Star Wars, to be a very obvious villain. So you didn't need to explain who they were when they came crashing in that airlock in the first Star Wars. It's a little bit hypocritical because it's very fascist to basically say you can or can't do this. We should ban this, or this shouldn't be done because I think so. I think it's a little bit ridiculous. So he goes through in his article talking about how basically if your kid dresses as a stormtrooper, they're basically dressing as a German trooper from the 1930s and the N word, which apparently it's bad to mention certain words on your YouTube, so I'm trying to avoid them because I'm struggling to gain subscriptions and views. So the last thing I want to do is say bad things that the algorithm actually reads and then punishes you for using. It's all a bit Skynet, but yeah. Apparently, yeah, you're supporting that, and a little part of me kind of gets his point of view, and the rest of me thinks it's kind of ridiculous because basically it's kids wanting to dress up as something that looks cool. Stormtroopers look cool. I've always thought they were kind of hot. Frankly, I would do a guy in a stormtrooper uniform. Unfortunately, all the guys I know who wear stormtrooper uniforms, I wouldn't, because I've seen them without the masks from the fan clubs. But otherwise, it's for adults. It's basically fetish and cosplay, which a lot of people are getting into now, which has actually kind of made Halloween less special, as Macarandum was pointing out, because people dress up all around the year now. Because it's been validated as just a lifestyle choice or just something popular to do, which I think is cool. But I think it's a little bit over the top. But at the same time, I kind of understand what he's saying, because I think it is a bit of a reflection who you're cosplaying, what you really think and what you believe. And people who they did a survey a while ago on Star Wars and who you preferred, the Rebels or the God, I forgot what they were called, the Empire. And a lot of people picked the Empire, and they're basically saying, so you're a bunch of racist fascists because basically you would want to be that person. And I don't think most people were thinking in real terms, but subconsciously I think it kind of says something. I mean, when we had the Germans invading countries, there were people who betrayed their own people to side with the Germans, and who were traitors who eventually dealt with afterwards. But the reality is people do this, and people do support the wrong things, and there are a lot of actual neo you-know-whats who will dress up in that regalia because they support it, and the idea that their children would be brought up in the same mentality, and perhaps what they're wearing at Halloween represents that and isn't innocent, isn't that unreasonable and insane? But to apply it sort of to the general population and to make it a rule is a bit ridiculous, and to suggest that anyone who does that is an irresponsible parent because they're supporting something like that is a bit ridiculous. But at the same time, I do kind of have that moment of thinking, what does that mean? Like, I'm a Transformer fan, but I always side with the Autobots. I wear Autobot symbols. Optimus was my hero as a kid. I would never support Megatron because he was a bad guy. I sort of always was siding with the good guys, and I never really thought too much about it. And then I started to think, what does it mean when you side with the bad guys? Yes, you know it's fiction, but on some level, you're for the people who are killing and harming and subjugating the rights of people and stuff, and the freedoms and that. And it's a little weird if you want to really think about it and contemplate if that subconscious if it really means anything, or if it's something that you need to protect from and protect children from. It seems a bit hysterical, but at the same time, we know from psychology that this stuff it does have some meaning and some basis. So I think it's something they kind of maybe should study and look at and think about in real terms as far as modelling things for your children. But the idea that we should cancel Star Wars costumes because of what they were based on, clearly, if kids were walking around in the real stormtrooper uniforms from those certain German officers in the 30s, then that would be a different thing. Stormtroopers, it's not the same thing. But, so, I'm not going to side with the social justice warriors on this one. I think they're being ridiculous, but I do think they have a couple little points, and it's something we should look at and not just assume is totally ridiculous. But the idea of using it to dictate what people can do or should do is too much. So I'm just going to leave that there. I just wanted to comment on that because I thought I kind of started to go down his path and I thought, no, this is ridiculous. But then I couldn't quite give up what could be there. So, but we need to look at that stuff, but we don't need to be paranoid about it. So feel free to like or subscribe and tell me what you think. I love comments. Everyone does. Thanks. Bye.